Fenlon, we meet again. And again. And again.
I grow tired of your visits, cat.
As do I, you slut.
You are a slut.
You're a slut.
You are the slut.
Cat, ready to dance.
I'm always ready.
Fenlongo, I've missed our chats.
You shut up and fight.
Welcome to the mother relay. We're covering today's top boxing news.
Okay, we'll start with this. On the heels of her latest title defense, Mizuki Hiruta reflects on Egypt experience and wants unification bouts. That desire was laid bare as she held a Tokyo presser this week, with the 30-year-old accepting the fact nerves and heightened pressure to perform left her feeling unsatisfied despite a wide points win over Mai Solomon on May 23rd, featuring prominently on the Glory and Giza card, headlined by Alexander Usyk and Rico Verhoeven. On DAZN pay-per-view, the ring's 2025 Female Fighter of the Year acknowledged her time in Egypt was an unforgettable experience. Australian-based contender Mai Solomon, 10-2 with 6 knockouts, who was born in Cairo, Egypt, and lived in Egypt before immigrating down under in her adolescent years, was the home fighter. Hiruta, 11-0 with 2 KOs, embraced the heel role, shouting back at fans who booed her, while dealing with the logistics of having to box outdoors during a swirling sandstorm. I feel the public is gradually becoming interested in me. I'm slowly taking steps up. It was an away game, so I felt I had to win decisively, but was frustrated that I couldn't get a knockout. I lack confidence in myself, preventing me from taking that extra step or unleashing explosive power, Hiruta said, as quoted by Yahoo Japan. Former long-reigning middleweight world champion Gennady Golovkin was among the esteemed company watching the historic event ringside and offered some encouraging words post-fight. He said it was a really good fight, praised me for being smart, and told me to keep working hard. She remembered about the 2026 Hall of Fame inductee. As far as what's next, she's unsure, but wants to unify titles after a lengthy run as WBO champion, while undisputed flyweight queen Gabby Fundora in the division below has cleaned out a stretch of contenders. I don't know what's going to happen next. I want to get stronger, continue to defend my belt, but really want to have a unification bout. It would be great if I could do it with anyone before the end of the year, she said. Mizuki Hiruta's promotional situation has become nebulous as of late because up until recently she was promoted by Tom Loeffler, boxing on his shows, but now that Tom has gone all in with Zuffa as a point man for them, you're seeing some of his female fighters migrate elsewhere. Both Iana Verduzco and Lupita Medina have migrated from 360 over to MVP. If that trend continues, then Mizuki Hiruta will be the next fighter that washes up on their shores. She wants unification matches. To get them, she's gonna need major backing. Takashi Misako, president of her gym, said they're exploring options with the belief Hiruta's stateside experiences served her in good stead for an even bigger one in Egypt. Mexico's Irma Garcia made the second defense of her IBF super flyweight title April 5th, scoring a third-round knockout of a then-unbeaten Emma Doolin on MVPW 01 in London. Natalie Delgado scored an upset points win over Jasmine Artiga on the O'Shea Jones versus Ilya Carranza undercard last weekend to seize the WBA title, while another world title fight takes place next month. California's Adelaida Ruiz defends her WBC title against Virginia Fuchs on a Pro Box show July 18th, having lost a 10-round split decision against the Texan in August of 2024. Monitoring that fight in particular could be one of interest, given MVP's stance means they're less inclined to risk titles against contenders and champions not signed with their ever-growing stable. Natalie Delgado was a mandatory challenger, and they'll likely have a contract option on the Panamanian, who at 31 years old just delivered a career-best performance in what was her U.S. debut.
So as stated,
Her promotional situation is a bit nebulous right now, but the best place for her to go would have to be MVP. MVP earlier today announced the signing of the United Kingdom's own Tyce Gallagher, an EBU-level fighter. If they can sign EBU-level fighters, they can sign a world-level fighter, a world champion like Mizuki Hiruta. You only hope that too much time doesn't pass before they decide to do so. If they really do have options on newly minted WBA champion Natalie Delgado, they by themselves can move to do a unification match between her and Mizuki Hiruta. Mizuki wins that fight. You can give Mizuki reasonable odds to beat any of the champions at super flyweight, any one of them. She's the best in show. The hope has got to be that MVP is already aware of this fighter, monitoring the situation so when the time comes, they can pick her up. We'll see what happens. Men's super lightweight news. Gigantic announcement coming on Teofimo Lopez. It will blow everyone away. Teofimo Lopez's manager, Keith Connolly, has teased a major announcement for his fighter. Lopez has not fought since losing his WBO title in a UD loss to Shakur Stevenson on January. Since then, Lopez has announced a move up to welterweight and been in discussions with various promoters about his future. The former lightweight and junior welterweight champion had been promoted by Bob Arum's Top Rank. There has been no news of late over where Lopez may end up, with it being reported Lopez was in talks with Zuffa Boxing, where several of Connolly's fighters have recently inked deals. I'm not going to say anything yet, but there'll be big news, probably next week. Dropping on Teofimo, Connolly told Boxing Scene, I think it's going to blow everyone away. Let's wait a week and a half. There's going to be gigantic news, like I said. I think it'll blow people away, the move we're making coming off the Shakur Stevenson fight, and it's all positive things. It's not a bad announcement. It's an amazing announcement, and you'll hear something next week. Connolly also revealed that it is possible that Lopez lands on the streaming service DAZN. If he's even entertaining that as a possibility, that has to mean that talks have cooled between Team Lopez and the people at Zuffa Boxing, which seem the obvious destination with so many of Keith Connolly's fighters going over there. Right? Richardson Hitchens, Edgar Berlanga, Conor Benn. It seemed fitting that Teofimo Lopez would join them. I thought he was going to, but something happened. Teofimo Lopez and Dana White were recently at the same event, and it was said that Dana White basically gave Teofimo the cold shoulder, that he didn't acknowledge him. You gotta figure that if he was on the verge of signing this kid, things would have been a lot more rosy, a lot more cozy between them, but they weren't. So what could have got in the way of Teofimo making that move over to Zuffa? Teofimo himself, he's always been his worst enemy. He's always been unable to get out of his own way. I mean, we don't know where he's going yet, but if the rumors are true that things have cooled between him and Zuffa, I can only deduce that maybe this kid was asking for too much. Too much money. Can only deduce that he fucked up the deal because he has a habit of doing that, overstating his value, not realizing you're coming off a loss to Shakur Stevenson, a lopsided loss, and you've never been that big a draw. Nope. From the outset. He's never been a big ticket seller, never been a box office attraction. Get fucking real. So if there's something that got in the way of Teofimo signing to Zuffa, well, I think it's Teofimo. I go to DAZN. Well, that's what Keith Connolly is saying. Possibility that he is entertaining. A good number of major promotional outfits are now all housed on the DAZN platform. I don't get the impression he's going to re-sign to Top Rank, and he's never had a good working relationship with Matchroom. He actually blamed Matchroom for his loss to George Kambosos. Remember that? So what promotional banner on DAZN could he end up signing to? There is Misfits Pro, Misfits, that started out as a social media influencer promotion in the beginning, and now they're doing more conventional boxing matches with conventional boxers. So maybe Teofimo Lopez will go over there. This is supposed to be huge news? Keith Connolly's got a job to do, fellas. He's gonna report anything involving any one of his fighters as being a huge story, huge news. Maybe Teofimo migrates over to Misfits Pro. Maybe he signs to Golden Boy Promotions to bring himself closer to a Ryan Garcia fight. That's possible. Problem with Teofimo is he didn't endear himself to anybody. He's always been sort of the odd man out. Doesn't have the built-in fan base of a Mexican boxer, those Chicano fans. Doesn't have the built-in fan base of a Puerto Rican boxer either. He's Honduran. Generally speaking, Honduras is a country It's not a big boxing market. What endurance you might find in the United States generally aren't all that big boxing fans, and Teofimo's star didn't burn bright enough to have developed a grassroots following. He's accomplished. I'm not saying he isn't, and he is one of the more recognizable fighters at or around these weights, but generally, he's never been that big a draw, and he's never been a box office attraction. But he wants to be paid like one. Don't we all? I don't necessarily know where Teofimo's gonna go. They're gonna announce it next week, and nothing would really surprise me. Because at this point, he's acting out of necessity. He's gotta do what he's gotta do wherever he's gotta do it, because he's acting out of necessity. He doesn't have a belt anymore, he's coming off a loss, and he needs stability. He's acting out of necessity. So there's no need to speculate too much. That news will be arriving shortly. Takes care of Teofimo. Now as it pertains to the man that beat him, Shakur Stevenson, he backs Zuffa's one-belt vision, but it could lead to a harder road. Shakur Stevenson believes boxing would benefit from a one-belt system. Stevenson argues that Zuffa Boxing's proposed structure would eliminate many of the problems that have plagued the sport for years. I think people are so ignorant to where they don't even understand that. For me, like with Zuffa, right? They've got one belt, just one belt. How would that not help clean the sport of boxing? Shakur said to the Daily Mail. That would be very helpful to the sport of boxing. Shakur also criticized the current landscape, which includes champions from the WBA, WBC, IBF, and WBO. If we have 4 different belt organizations, the fans going to complain that this champion isn't fighting that champion, this champion isn't fighting, and this mandatory. It becomes a whole clown show, Shakur said. The WBO light welterweight champion's comments are notable because his own path to a title at 140 came under the current system. So now he's trashing it? It's a system that he has benefited from across 3-4 separate weight classes. After moving up from lightweight, Shakur challenged Teofimo for the WBO title without first fighting many of the division's leading contenders. A one-belt structure built around rankings would likely require fighters to move through the contender ladder before receiving a title shot. It's not all it's cracked up to be. If boxing adopted a true one-belt model across the sport, Shakur could find himself having to earn championship opportunities against contenders such as Ernesto Mercado, Andy Hirioka, Gary Antoine Russell, Alberto Puello, Dalton Smith, and Oscar Duarte. Each presents a different challenge. Mercado has emerged as one of the division's hardest punchers while also showing impressive hand speed. Hirioka brings size and power. Russell is regarded as one of the division's most aggressive pressure fighters. Smith, Puello, and Duarte have all established themselves as legitimate contenders. The same issue would exist if Shakur returned to lightweight. Floyd Schofield, Gervonta Davis, Andy Cruz, Raymond Murataya, and William Zepeda would all likely be in the mix for title contention. Zepeda's pressure created difficult moments during his fight with Shakur last year, raising questions about how a one-belt system would affect fighters who currently have multiple routes to a championship opportunity. This is gonna sound funny to you guys, but I actually don't mind that there are 4 separate alphabet organizations. I don't even think that's the real problem. No? In a one-belt system, a one-belt structure, it would take an eternity for any fighter to climb up all those ranks, take on all those contenders, to finally get a shot at the big time. It would take forever. So that's where having 4 separate routes to a title is beneficial. Then you say, well, 4 separate belts creates 4 separate champions. Doesn't that water down the sport? Not if they fight each other. Not if you thought about the entire process as being a tournament of sorts, to where just winning a title represents the quarterfinal, unifying and afterwards would be the semifinal, and undisputed would represent the final. In that way, it's not even that the problem is that there are 4 separate routes to a title. The problem is the champions, when they get there, they don't always fight each other, which I think is an essential component in every single division. Undisputed needs to happen as often as possible. Despite that, Stevenson remains convinced that a one-belt structure would improve boxing, saying, I think everybody will fight each other that way. But in that way, The problem isn't that there are too many belts. The problem is enough of these champions aren't fighting each other. He also chimed in on Floyd Mayweather's current legal woes, his diminishing financial situation, saying Floyd broke ain't like everybody else being broke. The WBO super lightweight champion said Mayweather continues to fight because he loves boxing, not because he needs money. Shakur Stevenson dismissed speculation about Mayweather's finances this week, saying the retired champion continues to compete because of his love for boxing rather than financial necessity. Stevenson argued that Mayweather remains deeply connected to the sport and has never truly wanted to walk away from it. Bullshit. I just think Shakur Stevenson is romanticizing things. Too much has come out about too many people that Floyd owes money to where at this point, if he's still fighting, it's because he has to. Shakur Stevenson doesn't want to believe that. People could talk about, oh, Floyd is broke and Floyd this, man. Even if, let's just say, coincidentally, Floyd is broke, Shakur said on Andre Ward's Art of War podcast, Floyd being broke isn't like everybody else being broke, bro. Floyd broke is a different type of broke, said Shakur to Andre Ward's channel. Floyd broke is still super rich at the end of the day. I done sat on the phone with Floyd for hours, and in conversation, I just realized, like, yo, this dude is in love with boxing, Shakur said. He's obsessed with boxing. He probably just can't hang the gloves up. He can't let it go. He never really did. Yeah, that sounds good, but that sounds like Shakur is romanticizing things, because when you take into account what Floyd is suing Showtime for, then what he's suing Jonah Rechnitz for. He's suing Showtime for what, $340 million? Then he's suing Jonah Rechnitz for close to $200 million.
Fucking guy's broke.
Shakur also expressed surprise at how sharp Mayweather still looks in training despite approaching 50 years old. Floyd past his prime is still better than a lot of guys in their prime, Shakur said. He just knows so much. Been on too many big stages. Mayweather 49 has continued competing in exhibition bouts since retiring from the sport in 2017 with a 50-0 record. Mayweather is scheduled to face former kickboxing champion Mike Zambidis in an exhibition bout this Saturday in Athens, Greece. Floyd scares me, Shakur said. When I talk to him, he reminds me of me. Oh, then you should be scared, because you don't want to end up owing the IRS like he does. I love boxing to death. I will never leave boxing. I'll always be in or around the sport, but I'm not trying to be boxing. No, fighting at 40 is scary work. To Shakur Stevenson, Floyd Mayweather would represent a fairy tale for a boxer that had a fairy tale ending in an industry where there are so very few of those. He made all of this money and still retired undefeated with all of his mental faculties intact. To Shakur, oh, that's a fucking fairy tale. He doesn't want to believe that someone could be as successful as a Floyd Mayweather and still end up another broken down boxer, but that's very much the case when you consider that he's suing Showtime for about $340 million. He's suing Jonah Rechnitz for close to $200 million, saying that they stole it from him. That's about a little over $500 million in lawsuits. And do you think that Floyd Mayweather would be spending as much time on this if he actually had that money somewhere? No. And what about all the people that he owes money? The IRS included. Shakur Stevenson is a young fighter who has his own life to live, likely not keeping close tabs on all of Floyd's issues, like either I or you, but the man is broke. The signs are there. Wouldn't still be fighting in exhibitions at close to 50 years old if he wasn't.